Okay. All right. So I'll open up the questions. Go ahead.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Jerry Jones this week said that it looks like the next 3 games will be a major component in defining your future. Just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, this, like Shadi said the other day, this is the NFL. Everybody's being evaluated throughout the whole league, and every organization, and that's part of the job, And so, going forward, some of the adjustments and changes that we talked about, that meaning Shadi and I, was that I'm going to go up in the booth and call the game. And I think that's a really good thing. And him and I talked it through, and I've done it before. But it's really a chance for me to get good perspective, get good information, see the game develop, in terms of information given to me on the sideline. So I'm going to go upstairs and call it from there. So, again, like I said, I've done it before. It's been a while, but it's going to be a good adjustment.
Is that something you've been thinking about for a while, or did that just come up just from your conversation?
No, it's been we've had conversations. That wasn't the first time we had the conversation, but we just think it's going to be a good adjustment.
Your thoughts on how do you block this out? Because you've been a head coach before, you've been a coordinator in Indy, and obviously people are always going to talk about your job. How do you kind of block that out and get the job done?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. You focus on your job and you are where your feet are, and then you got to really do a great job of compartmentalizing everything. That's with success too. When you have major success and you're winning a bunch of games, that's the same thing. You always got to block those things out, and it's important that you focus on the job and the opponent that you're playing, and focus right there.
Matt Archer with ESPN. When you look at the season and the sack numbers and the takeaways, why do you think you guys have not been able to be up higher than you've been in the past?
Yeah, it's a frustrating thing for me because I know we preach it, I know we talk about it, we practice it, and I know they come in bunches, and our guys have been working diligently at it, and you never know when it's going to spring open. And the guys are continuing to work hard at it, and it's a group effort. Everything happens in the pocket for the most part in terms of takeaways. So pressure in the quarterback and doing a good job in the pocket with a 4-man, 5-man, whatever the rush is the start of it. And after that, it's about, being fanatical about punching the ball all the way down to the ground, because most fumbles happen on the way to the ground. Ball comes off the seated position, and we got to do a great job when the runner's going down too.
And then when the Micah trade went down, Steven was talking about you guys can generate pressure. It's not just one person. There are things you guys can do to make that. Have you done enough of that? Because you look at your pressure rate in the first quarter of the last 2 games is much higher than it's been in quarters 2 through 4.
Yeah, when the pressure rate's down, the answer is no. You haven't done a good enough job. That's part of it. And we got to find ways to create pressure. If it's one-on-one matchups, with our D line or sending off the ball players, we got to find ways to get those matchups and get those free runners. And we're continuing to do that too.
John Machota with The Athletic. What would you have to see, or what do you want to see from these final 3 games from the defense? Yeah,
just everybody playing together. All together all the time. Great communication. The Mike linebackers driving the car. That's a big part of it, and they're doing a good job of that this week. Being loud, being decisive with their communication, and then the guys relaying it out to the outside. That's part of playing really good defense. And and then the energy, the passion, the love of the game. Guys playing for one another, and playing one snap at a time.
And then what have you seen in practice from Trayvon Diggs just recently with him coming back from the knee injury?
Yeah, Diggs has been good. Last week we talked about the preparation, and the focus and all those things and the consistency and all that, and that's been better this week. And he's doing a good job. So far this week, we had our first and second down practice yesterday, and that's what it was yesterday. So looking for a good day here on third down from him. So.
Nick Harris, 4-Star Telegram. When you look at the totality of your tenure so far here with the Cowboys, this second time around, obviously, how much would you look at the Micah trade and how it affected things, especially with it being a week before the season, as far as some of the issues that you guys have had all year?
Yeah, I mean that's something in the past. We don't focus that way. So it's whatever your situation is, you do the best you can with what it is, and that's across the league. Everybody has to do that, and you focus on the players that you have, enhancing their skill sets, and doing it that way. And that's all we know how to do as coaches.
You talk about the Mike linebackers. What do you think the issues have been with the second level over the course of the season, and what do you hope to see in these next 3 games?
Yeah, just the same as what I said before. Just driving the car, great communication, getting it across the board, playing all together, every single play, one snap at a time.
And Overshown was a guy that has continually picked up some more green dot responsibilities. Is that something that you think he could take over solely over the course of the rest?
Yeah, he's doing a good job with the communication. He's making a lot of plays out there. I love the way he plays. He's got great passion, great energy. He's done a nice job since he's come back.
Joe White, Dallas Morning News. Obviously, the last 2 weeks, it seemed there's been a regression. There was a little bit of a progression, now a regression the last 2 weeks. What do you really pinpoint that to?
Yeah, it's ball. It's ball. You got to do a great job of finding out what the problems are and finding solutions to those problems. And that's our job as coaches. And to pinpoint one thing or the other, it's really not that. It's about taking the ball away. I know our guys have done a really good job of stopping the run. Over the last 5 games. And the positive is we've been really good on third down, in the last 5 games. So those are some of the things that we tried to focus on to make that turn. And, again, the last 2 weeks hasn't been good enough in the pass game. We got to do a better job in the pass game and the coverage. And we're working to do that.
I know you're somewhat limited in terms of what you can do, but is there any personnel changes maybe you can envision making to maybe jumpstart things?
No. I mean, I know we have the guys that we have. Like I said, we're going to play those guys and just coaching them up, and making sure the job is tight and executing.
Tommy Arch, DallasCowboys.com. Going back to moving upstairs, do you remember the last time that you were calling from upstairs, and just what are the kind of fundamental differences, obviously being up at the Skyvers on the field, but between those 2 jobs and what you have to do differently?
I probably can't remember. It was back in Missouri, I think it was. So, but last time I was upstairs was when I first got in the league 17 years ago when I was coaching linebackers at the Browns. But calling it up there is great perspective. It really is, because you can see the game unfold. You can see, everybody's job. Because sometimes when you're on the sideline, you can see the near sideline, can't see the opposite sideline sometimes. But you'll be able to see everything and how it's unfolding. The personnel will get quicker to me, and it'll be good. It'll be good.
And then just as far as who you look to on the sidelines with you upstairs, who of your coaching staff or of your players do you kind of turn to and trust to get the messages across?
Yeah, it's the guys. Each guy has their area. White Cotton, our D-line coach, will be the guy that spearheads that in terms of bringing the guys together and all that, and making adjustments in terms of his totality. But again, once that's pretty quick, and then once you get to your position group on the sideline, linebacker coach, secondary guys, they'll be making their adjustments.
Babe Loffler, 105.3 The Fan, Cowboys Radio Network. So, Matt, I had a former coach many years ago tell me football isn't fun, it's rewarding. So, have you had any fun this year, and has any part of this been rewarding?
Yeah, the fun part of it, like I said a couple weeks ago when we won those games, I would say that, it's about having the players have fun. That's the most enjoyment I get as a coach. Watching the guys execute, having a good time out there, playing well, and that's the most enjoyment that you get as a coach. And it's fun when that happens.
Rewarding this year?
Yeah, that would be rewarding. Yep.
Christy Scales, Cowboys Radio, 105.3 The Fan. Watching Chargers film the last couple of weeks, can you notice anything that they might be doing differently with Herbert, or that he's doing differently to protect that hand?
That's a good question. I haven't noticed anything, in particular. There's a couple of things, situationally, but he's operating well, with the hand. Very accurate passer, very quick release. He's got his, 2 favorite targets that he plays, McConkey, and Allen. So those guys are doing a great job. And they're a run football team. They got to be able to stop the run. Those guys do a great job in the run game, giving you variation, in terms of their personnel groups, in terms of their scheme. And that's going to be a big part for us to be able to get those guys into a third down and manageable.
The follow-up question was going to be why they are so efficient on third down. I mean, obviously one of the best offenses in the league on third down. Run part of that.
Yeah, very efficient offense. They like to operate in that lower part. And they do a lot of times, and when you get lower there, you get more efficiency, and that's just it's how they want to operate.
Brad Sham, Cowboys Radio, 105.3 The Fan. Matt, especially drawing on your experience as a head coach, if you're mathematically eliminated after this week. Is there any value, in your opinion, of specifically creating time to look at guys? I'm thinking of Turner, Winfrey, and Butler particularly. Is there value in getting those guys involved so you can evaluate them if you're eliminated?
Yeah, we'll evaluate the roster every single week like we do, and we'll do what's best for the football team to win the games. You know, we're in this to win every single game, and it's another championship opportunity right here this week in front of us, and we'll focus 1 week at a time.
We'll finish with Todd Keller.
You mentioned the personnel groupings and being able to see it from up top. Has that been an issue of getting the right calls down to you to say, what is it, 11 personnel, is it 13 personnel, whatever?
No, it hasn't been an issue. No, not at all. It's just perspective. You know, again, I've been in football a long time. I've seen football a long time, so I'll get the information very quickly that way.
Do you need a vote of confidence from the front office? Because I don't know if because you've been a head coach and you've been in this organization, so I don't know if you felt like you needed to hear something positive from them.
Yeah, I don't look for a vote of confidence. That to me is that's kind of like a hypothetical deal there. So again, it's about doing your job. I know this is the NFL. We got to do a good job this week and focus on that, and that's where our feet are.